How's it going? Back with another making that tone, I guess, or copy that tone video. This time I was listening to, or I wanted to recreate the tone from Andy Timmons' song Cry For You. And you may or may not know the track. I don't know. If you don't, it's a really cool track. It's off an album called Ear Ecstasy. And I always like the song, always like the sound. It's a particular type of a sound, and in my research looking into what Andy did or how he recorded it, I read that he actually went direct in the studio using a Zoom multi-effects unit. So I tried to recreate. It's because it's similar to some of Joe Satriani's early albums, which I think he used a Rockman or something like that, like a little digital multi-effects type of a thing. So I tried to recreate that sound using the Helix. So I'm just going to turn everything off here on the patch so you can hear what we very basically started with. So I picked the song has a kind of a mic off axis type of a sound. So I use this IR here. This is a Bogner 4x12 off axis, and I wanted to get the fizziest kind of most digital sounding amp model, and going through the various ones here, the Line6 electric model seemed to kind of get close to what I was looking for. So I'll let you hear just the amp and the cab on their own. Actually, I'm going to play a little bit of the song just so you get an idea of what it's supposed to sound like. If you know the song, you know what it sounds like, but it's a particular type of a tone. So first thing, I got that amp model going, and it sounds like this. Now, fairly unremarkable in and of itself. On the song, on the original, there's almost a kind of, I don't know, is it a combination of the pickups in Andy's guitar and the Zoom unit itself? It has this kind of cocked wah, like wah partially on mid sound. So what I did was I put a parametric EQ in front of the amp, and I tried to find that kind of wah, cock wah frequency by scanning through, and what I found was it was in around 865 hertz. So I'm gonna boost up this up to 12 dB so you can hear what the EQ adds. So you can hear it really kind of pushes a lot of the mids. I'm going to knock it back off again. And on. Now that's extreme, but I just used a little bit to boost up that frequency. So I'll knock that back about maybe 3 dB is 3.5 dB just to push those mid frequencies a little bit and make that kind of jump out a little. Okay, so that was the mid boost. I'm also boosting some of the high-end frequencies just to give it a bit more of that digital sizzle, a kind of fizzy top end that you get in some digital things. And the frequencies I'm boosting are 3.7K. I'll let you hear what it sounds like fully 12 dB. That's very extreme, but it's just a little bit of extra top end boost, so about 3 dB. And just to add a bit more sizzle into the sound. Now, so next thing, on the original track, there's quite a lot of reverb, so I went with a cave reverb, which is a very big and sort of expansive sounding reverb. I'll let you hear what that sounds like. I'm going to put the mix to 100 so you can hear really what the reverb sounds like. And it's like a really big, expansive, and it kind of has a lot of diffusion. It goes on for a long time. The decay is long. I'm actually gonna make that a little brighter. And so that's the reverb now. It's not as high in the mix, obviously, so maybe 20-30% thereabouts. So it just gives it a real big space. Next then I added a delay. The delay is very low in the original. It's hard to kind of hear exactly what it sounds like, but I found the vintage digital with the sampler rate down really low to give me a dark repeats.
And again, it's quite low in the mix. It just sits behind it. The next thing is I added a room reverb. Now, this room reverb is a kind of a funny thing. Because it's an off-axis like mic sound, it's kind of hollow, scooped kind of a thing. But I found that the off-axis cab I was using wasn't quite enough. So I added this room reverb. I'm going to let you hear what the room reverb sounds like fully at 100%. Now, it's a very low decay. But it's to give it that sort of sense of a microphone off-axis. It's almost more like an EQ than I'm using it like a reverb. And so with the mix at a 40%. Now you hear about that off again. And on. Like, it's subtle. It's just it's giving it a sense of that kind of hollowness that the original has. Now, next thing I added was some dual pitch, which I'm using like a Detune. It's a kind of a widening effect without being like a chorus. So I have plus 4.6 cents and minus 4.6 cents. The left and right are panned, pitch one is panned all the way left, all the way, and the other one is all the way right. Now, if the mix is at 50%, you'll hear how extreme this sounds. It sounds really like a chorus. It's very 80s chorusy sounding. So I'm just having a tiny bit of that, 20%, just to give it a little bit of width, a little sense of width. Again, it's the kind of 80s vintage or like multi-effects digital kind of sound. Okay, so then I have a little bit of compression after the amp model. And then I have an EQ at the end, and that's just boosting a little bit of lows, 110 hertz, just to give it back a little bit of fullness, because a lot of mids boosted. The mids on the amp are at 10, the treble is at 9, the presence at 10. It's very trebly and fizzy sounding. So I'm just using this EQ at the end here to boost a little bit of low end back in. And then I'm also cutting out a little bit of muddy mids, which are in and around. Sorry, that was something different. So it was, I used it to find the kind of and I just cut those out maybe by 2 dB or so. Just kind of cleans up a little bit of the mud out of the mids. Just smooths out, and it just gives it a bit more clarity. I'm also boosting the highs at 7.5K. Now this is more kind of presency highs, so I'll boost these to 12. Very kind of sizzly top end. I'm just boosting that by like 3 dB. Just give it a little bit of extra sizzle and presence, so you might even get a little bit more. And a medium with Q, 6.5% there. So all of those on now together, the pitch and everything, we get this. Okay, so I'm going to play a little bit of it with the backing track here so you can hear what it sounds like in context. the mix. So there you go. That's another how you go about building a tone with the Helix, and something a little bit different to the last one. It's kind of almost trying to emulate a cheap digital Zoom unit, but it's a cool tone. It's a great song. Check it out. Listen to the original "Cry for You" by Andy Timmons. But anyway, so hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Thank you.